When a billionaire sees her old dress, he offers an epic surprise at midnight. The clock ticked ominously in the silence of the dimly lit room. It was a worn-down attic brimming with forgotten treasures and cobwebs that clung like whispered secrets. Among the dusty crates and old furniture lay a simple dress of radiant blue fabric that sparkled under the flickering light like the night sky. To the casual observer, it was a relic, long past its prime, but to Mia, it was more. This dress held memories of laughter, heartbreak, and that fateful night years ago when a billionaire's gaze had pierced through the mundane to find her. And now, it seemed, that past was clawing back, bringing along a wave of strange anticipation. As Mia lifted the dress, something caught her eye, a glimmer on the hem that didn't belong there. For one wild moment, she thought it was just her imagination until her heart raced, beating hard against her ribcage. It wasn't just a sparkle, it was a diamond stud. She gasped, her breath hitching. How did it end up there? The deeper she delved into her childhood memories, the more she felt a pull, an almost magnetic connection to that enchanting night when everything had changed. But just as she was lost in her thoughts, a loud thud echoed from below, shaking her from the past. Goosebumps danced across her arms as the sound escalated, footsteps, panicked voices filtering through the air. She felt it then, a tightening in her chest. Shadows shifted beneath the attic door, a silent warning creeping into her mind. Why was someone upstairs in her home at this hour? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Mia's heart raced louder now. The footsteps grew quicker, more frantic, and it wasn't just her imagination. Someone was definitely up to something sinister. Clutching the dress, she heard a low voice hiss, "Don't let her find out." Chills trickled down her spine. Who were they talking about? Was this related to the dress? As a shard of moonlight pierced through the attic window, illuminating the dress, a wild plan began to form in her mind. The dress wasn't just a symbol of her past, it could be her key to unraveling this dangerous mystery. She had to confront whatever darkness was lurking just below. And just as she steeled herself for what was to come, the doorknob rattled. With a swift gasp, Mia realized she was no longer just a passive observer of her life. She was stepping into a shadowy world where her heart would lead her on an uncharted path of intrigue and chance. What awaited her beyond that door? The air thrummed with unanswered questions and fears she couldn't shake. The doorknob rattled again, more violently this time. Mia's pulse quickened, a primal instinct urging her to retreat. But she squared her shoulders and pressed her back against the wall, clutching the dress to her chest like a lifeline. Shadows flickered beneath the door, urging her to dive deeper into the unknown. "Me? We know you're up there. Open the door." A voice barked, sending fresh waves of panic crashing through her. It was Kevin, her estranged brother, and underlying his authoritative tone was a raw desperation she hadn't heard in years. "We need to talk. It's important." Important? The word echoed ominously in her mind. What could possibly be so urgent that he would come here of all places? She pulled the dress closer, feeling the cool fabric brush against her skin. What secrets had it concealed? Glimpses of fire, screaming, and a man's face twisted in anger suddenly flooded her memory. That night haunted her dreams, the memories fading only to return when she least expected it. But this was her home. Why was Kevin pushing into her sacred space, a space now intertwined with a dress that held so much at stake? Mia took a deep breath, steadying her shaking hands. "What do you want, Kevin?" she finally called out, trying to mask her fear with a facade of bravery. "Hurry! There's not much time. You have to trust me." His voice cracked with urgency. Trust? Mia felt her stomach twist at the word. Trust was the very thing that had been shattered between them long ago. She could remember so clearly the last argument they had, the accusations that flared like wildfires. How could she trust someone who had abandoned her so easily? But the atmosphere thickened with tension, and despite her fears, she knew she had to open the door. Shaking, she turned the knob, feeling it give way beneath her hand. As the door creaked open, the attic light cast eerie shadows over the room, revealing her brother's wide-eyed desperation. He was disheveled, a sheen of sweat glistening on his forehead. At that moment, he looked less like her brother and more like a stranger, someone with burdens heavier than she could ever perceive. "Mia," he breathed, urgency palpable in the air. "You need to get out of here. They're coming for you." "Who is coming for me?" Her voice trembled as the question batted against her resolve. "Does it matter?" He stepped into the attic, eyes darting as if someone unseen might pounce. "I'll explain later, but we have to move." Suddenly, a loud crash erupted from below, rattling the very foundations of the house. The terrified expression on Kevin's face mirrored the fear thrumming through Mia's veins. They were no longer safe. Before she could respond, the attic lights flickered and went dark, plunging them into a suffocating darkness. She could hear her brother's sharp intake of breath, the rapid beat of his heart echoing in the silence. In that moment of utter blackness, with danger bearing down on them, the dress slipped from her fingers, falling to the ground with a soft thud. A sharp chill ran down her spine as she whispered, "What have I done?" Then, a figure appeared at the top of the staircase, backlit by a dim glow, casting a long shadow that engulfed them. The voice that emerged sent chills up Mia's spine, a voice she recognized all too well. "Going somewhere, Mia?" "I thought we could have a little chat." The air in the attic thickened, and Mia braced herself for the confrontation to come. What did this person want? And just how deep did this conspiracy dive? The moment had arrived, and the truth was about to unravel like the tangled threads of her old dress. The figure stepped closer, the dim light revealing sharp features twisted into a smirk that could cut through glass. It was not just any familiar face. It was Vincent, the man who had shattered more than just Mia's heart years ago. He had destroyed her sense of safety, too. "Mia," he said, eyes glinting as if he savored her panic. "I didn't think you'd be here. Funny how fate moves, isn't it?" Kevin tensed beside her, moving instinctively to block her from Vincent's view. "Stay back, Vincent," he warned, adrenaline charging his voice. "Aw, come now," Vincent taunted, feigning disappointment. "You two are still playing family? After all this time?" Such a touching reunion. His attention flickered to the dress on the floor, a knowing grin spreading across his face. "What is this? The past refuses to stay buried, doesn't it?" Mia's heart raced as she met Kevin's wide eyes. "What do you know about it?" she demanded, her voice wavering only slightly. "I know a lot more than you'd ever want to hear." He stepped forward, revealing a flash of something metallic hidden within his jacket. "But truth be told, Mia, it's not the dress I'm after." Suddenly, the air turned icy. Kevin shifted, his protective stance steady. "Get away from her, Vincent. This isn't a game." Vincent chuckled, a sound that echoed eerily around the attic. "Who said it was? You really think I came here to catch up? I'm here for what is rightfully mine." His gaze pierced through the dark, landing back on Mia. "That dress holds secrets, Mia, secrets that can open doors if you know the right way to use them." Ba rose in her throat as memories flooded back, the night filled with shouts, the fire, the dress that had seen far too much. "What do you want?" she asked again, her fear mixing with anger. "Ah, such a lovely question," he replied, taking another step closer, eyes glimmering in the dim light. "I want you to join me. We could recreate what was lost, Mia. Think of the power, the wealth, everything we could build together. All it takes is a little trust. His word twisted inside her like a dagger. How could he ask for trust when he had betrayed her in such colossal ways? This was the man who had walked away, leaving devastation in his wake. Then, like thunder cracking through the tense silence, a loud banging erupted from below, shaking the wooden beams. "We need to go," Kevin insisted, grabbing Mia's wrist, pulling her toward the narrow staircase. But Mia froze, trapped between the allure of Vincent and the urgency of the moment. "No," she hissed. "I can't just run. He knows something. Let him go," Kevin shouted, yanking her back. "We don't have time for his games." Vincent laughed softly, a sound laced with menace. "You're right. But you need to understand, Mia. The answers you seek are within reach. It's a matter of who you choose to trust." Mia's heart raced between them, her brother, her protector, Vincent, a siren's call of temptation and danger. She glanced toward Kevin, fear mingling with confusion. "Who are you going to believe?" Vincent continued, voice smooth yet cutting. "Your brother who abandoned you, or me, someone who can show you the truth?" The darkness outside the attic door deepened, shadows creeping closer. Panic clawed at her throat. In that pivotal moment, Mia stood on the precipice of decision. The night stretched ahead of her like a dark abyss, but deep within her, a flicker ignited. "Neither of you can control my fate," she shouted, courage taking over her trembling body. "Let us see about that," Vincent replied, as a chilling wind swept through the open door. With a shared glance, Mia and Kevin took a step back as Vincent lunged forward, shadows swarming around him. The house trembled, echoes of her past roaring into a storm that threatened to consume them all. What had she truly unleashed in confronting Vincent? What storm was brewing on the other side of the darkness? Suddenly, the power flickered back on, illuminating the room and the chaos that awaited them. As a new dawn crested on the horizon, Mia knew only one thing: the real battle was about to begin. Mia's heart raced, each beat echoing like a warning drum in her ears. The attic lights flickered, creating dancing shadows that draped Vincent in an even more sinister aura. This wasn't just a confrontation. It felt like a duel between darkness and light, past and future. "What do you think you're doing?" Kevin growled, his body tense and ready. He protected Mia fiercely, yet the intensity in Vincent's eyes sent shivers skating up her spine. Beneath the bravado lurked a twisted sense of purpose. "We've come full circle, haven't we?" Vincent sneered. "You're standing in the same place you were years ago, Mia. Still shackled by ghosts." His laughter rang hollow in the wooden beams of the attic. "But this time, you have a choice. Join me, and we can unlock everything that was once taken from us." The words hit her like a punch. How could he manipulate her fragile scars with promises of power? She wanted to scream, to tell him he could never hold her past hostage again. Yet, part of her wanted to know if he spoke the truth. She trembled. "Stop it!" Mia shouted, her voice rising with both fear and anger. "You don't get to decide my future." Vincent's smile didn't falter. "Ah, but haven't you always been weak, Mia? Clinging to the illusions of safety? You think you can waltz away from me back to your ordinary life? Think again." He pointed to the dress on the ground, and for a brief moment, his expression shifted to something unreadable, maybe regret. "That dress, it's tied to the chaos, the fire, everything. It can set you free, or it can lock you away forever." The thunderous noise from below escalated, shaking the attic with relentless pounding. It felt as if the house itself was responding to Vincent's taunts, warning them of the darkness gathering. "Whatever secrets the dress holds, I will uncover it without you." Mia shouted defiantly, her voice a mere echo against the chaos surrounding them. And when you do? Vincent stepped back, brows raised, confidence still glowing in his eyes. What then? Will you take on the world, Mia? Or will it take you down just as it did before? Kevin tightened his grip on her, pulling her closer. We need to leave. Now! He glared at Vincent, a fierce protector in a dangerous game. But Mia hesitated, torn between leaving and the tantalizing images Vincent painted in her mind. The thought of confronting her past felt less terrifying when she considered facing it with power. Yet could she trust him? Her emotions twisted inside her like a coiled spring, ready to snap. Think about it, Mia. We could be unstoppable. Vincent's tone softened, his gaze penetrating. All I'm asking is for you to take a leap of faith. Faith? She spat, hating how the word tasted on her tongue. You've broken everything I ever had. How can I trust you? Vincent paused, his expression serious. Trust is a dangerous game, isn't it? But it's too late for caution, don't you think? We're standing at a crossroads. You need to decide. The pounding continued, but Mia felt disoriented. It became an oppressive rhythm that echoed her uncertainty. Was she really willing to let the past dictate her future? Could she possibly control the narrative? Let us get out of here, Mia. Kevin's voice broke through her thoughts. But before she could respond, the light flickered wildly, bathing them all in chaos. Shadows swirled towards Vincent, who stood firm, remnants of the past practically clinging to him like a shroud. He raised the metallic object from his jacket, a glint of something deadly in the light. Keep your brother close, he warned, eyes narrowing. Or you might regret not listening to me. A flash of steel sent a shockwave through her body. Anxiety poured into her veins like ice. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound escaped, and just then, the surrounding wall shattered, sending debris flying into the dim attic as a figure rushed in, blocking Vincent's view. Let us see how well you handle a real storm. The newcomer growled. Mia's heart pounded as shock cascaded through her. Who was this? And what had they just walked into? The night shifted, uncertainty and determination colliding within her. She had to make a choice, and fast. The real danger was just beginning. What had she truly unleashed, and who else would step into her tangled fate? The figure that burst into the attic was cloaked in shadows, but there was an unmistakable presence that surged through the air. Mia squinted, trying to make sense of the chaos as the stranger raised their arm, deflecting the shards of wood and plaster that swirled around them like a storm. Time seemed to stretch, the pounding from below fading to a muffled heartbeat. Me? Get back! Kevin yelled, drawing her instinctively closer. He shielded her with his own body as the newcomer moved with an intensity that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. Who are you? Vincent demanded, irritation mingling with confusion on his sharp features. The figure lowered their hood, revealing a fierce gaze that startled Mia to her core. Blue eyes burned with purpose, and beneath the hasty clothing, muscles coiled ready for action. The familiar warmth in those eyes stirred something deep within her. Lucas, Mia breathed, recognition flickering through her like lightning. Is that what you call yourself now? Vincent mocked, stepping into a defensive stance, the metallic glint still dangerous in his grip. You think you can play hero? That dress, Lucas shot back, completely ignoring Vincent's taunt. You need to destroy it, Mia. It's a vessel for everything he has done to you. You don't understand what you're holding. I won't let him use you again, Lucas said, his voice a fierce whisper. Mia's thoughts tangled in desperation, memories flooding back. Lucas was a ghost, jogged awake from her past, but every word resonated with truth. Once they had been comrades against the looming shadows of Vincent. But could they be allies again? What are you talking about? She stammered, the weight of uncertainty suffocating her. Vincent scoffed. Ah, the knight in shining armor returns. This is quite the comedy, don't you think? He waved the metallic object between them, sending sparks of defiance through the air. You really believe you can stop me? You're all just pawns in a much larger game. Mia's heart clenched. The walls felt like they were closing in, but she couldn't back down now. Not with the stakes raised so high. What is the truth? She demanded, turning from Vincent to Lucas. What do I need to do? Listen to me. Lucas urged, urgency lighting up his features. The dress, when you wear it, it channels the pain, the fire. It's held together by Vincent's twisted energy. If you embrace that power, you'll consume it. If you don't, you'll become a vessel for his chaos, Vincent interrupted, a smug smile snaking back across his lips. Join me, and I can make you greater than either of them ever dreamed. Lucas stepped closer, lowering his voice, desperately trying to reach her. This isn't just about Vincent. It's about freedom. You need to choose who you are, not who he decides you should be. The ground quaked beneath them, rattling more debris from the ceiling. Mia felt the energy shift, chaos swirling all around her with every heartbeat, each thundering pulse urging her toward a decision. With every ounce of strength, she took a deep breath, forging clarity through the tempest. She had faced down her demons before. She could do it again. Vincent, Mia said finally, dread and resolve battling within her. You think I'm the weak one? No. You are the one trapped in your own darkness. Before she could finish her thought, a blinding flash erupted, throwing her backward. Glass, wood, and memories exploded around her as chaos engulfed the attic completely, encasing them all in uncertainty. Mia landed hard, the floor beneath groaning in defeat. She looked around wildly, trying to find her footing, grasping for clarity in the swirling shadows. This wasn't over. She could feel it in her bones. Lucas' hand reached for her, pulling her back up. But outside, something new threatened to enter from the storm. Hold tight. He shouted as the sound of splintering wood echoed, heralding an unknown force barreling toward them. Who else would burst through the darkness? What other secrets were hiding just beyond the attic wails? The mystery tightened around Mia as she clung to her choice, knowing the encounter was only beginning. The attic trembled, the walls vibrating with an unseen force. Mia scrambled to regain her balance, her heart pounding in her chest. The air was thick with dread, every moment stretched out, pregnant with uncertainty. Above the cacophony, she heard a familiar voice, low and urgent. Don't let him manipulate you, Mia. Remember who you are? Lucas urged, his grip steadying her as the shadows around them swirled like sentient fog. His eyes shone with an intensity that promised they were still connected despite the chaos around them. Before she could respond, a loud crash came from the other side of the attic door. The sound shattered her moment of clarity, and she turned towards it instinctively. The door splintered violently, splinters flying across the room, and from the darkness emerged a figure, tall and imposing. Me? The voice was a booming command, threading through the chaos like a sharp knife. It was Greg, the wealthy heir who had taken an unexpected interest in her life. The look on his face was wild, a mix of worry and something darker, something she couldn't quite place. What are you doing here? Mia shouted over the noise, trying to make herself heard amidst the frenzy. I came to find you, he said, eyes flicking to the swirling shadows. I should have never let you come here alone. You know too much. Too much about what? Vincent interjected, his voice laced with venom. A menacing shadow loomed larger from behind him, the atmosphere taut with tension. Greg didn't back down. He pulled a cell phone from his pocket, his fingers dancing over the screen. You need my help, Mia. You don't realize the danger you're in, Mia. Lucas interrupted, positioning himself protectively between her and Vincent, but she was caught off guard by Greg's sudden appearance and his insistence. Stay away from her. Vincent spat, raising his weapon, electricity crackling at its tip. The air became thick with anticipation, a tangible weight that threatened to crush them. Mia's mind raced as she faced so many choices, all at once: Lucas, Vincent, and now Greg. Her instincts screamed for her to escape, to find safety, but her heart pulsed with an anxious desire to understand. No one is manipulating me. I'm here because I choose to be here. Greg's expression hardened, frustration twisting his handsome features. That dress you're holding, it's not just fabric. You're playing with fire, Mia. I know that. She snapped back, heat rising in her chest. That's why I need to destroy it. No. You don't have a clue what you're up against, he urged, desperation creeping into his voice. It's not about just the dress. It's about everything that influenced you. You were never meant to be entangled in this mess. But Mia felt the change in the air, a hint of something dark and powerful shifting. The shadows around Vincent twisted more violently, as if responding to the tension in the room. This was not going to end well. Look! You need to work together, everyone, Lucas pleaded, another crash resonating from outside. If we want to fight this together, we need a plan now. Before anyone could respond, the walls gave a groan, and the wooden beams above began to crack, dust raining down like fragile promises falling apart. Mia swallowed hard, fighting the rising panic that threatened to choke her. Choose. Vincent sneered, his voice dripping with malice. Will it be Lucas and your old ghosts, or will you ally with your savior? Tension ratcheted skyward as their choices coiled around them. The storm was not just outside anymore, it raged within them. Each shadow seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat, urging her to decide where her loyalties lay. The storm that howled outside mirrored the chaos inside her soul. As the roof began to buckle, she grasped the dress tightly, feeling both the weight of her past and the promise of her future entwined within the fabric. Her voice trembled but held the steely edge of a question. Whose side am I really on? The question hung in the air, heavy with portent. What choice would she make, and how would it shape the shadows closing in around them? The cracking of the beams overhead was like the growl of a looming predator. Mia's heart raced, adrenaline surging through her veins. She clutched the dress as if it were the last lifeline, its delicate fabric suddenly feeling like coarse chains instead. The pounding in her ears drowned out the chaos, leaving only her own confused thoughts. Choose, Mia! Vincent shouted again, the shadows rippling behind him, dark and hungry. They all sensed it. The danger was palpable, circling like a vulture, waiting for the right moment to strike. I don't know, she shouted back, her voice strained and quavering. The pressure of the choice pressed against her, squeezing her soul with a grip like iron. Don't let him stress you, Lucas said urgently, stepping closer. His eyes were fierce, filled with a blend of fear and protectiveness. You have to trust yourself. You can't let the darkness decide for you. But what if they were all wrong? What if the darkness was her only chance at saving herself? Greg's maniacal declaration burned in her mind. You know too much. She had stumbled into a realm of secrets, shadows that entangled themselves around everything she thought she understood. The weight of Greg's gaze sent a shiver down her spine. Mia, you need to listen to me. The dress is a key. You have no idea of its power, he said, thrashing against the threatening atmosphere. A crack of thunder outside punctuated his words, violence echoing the tremors inside the attic. Suddenly, the air thickened with a high-pitched hum. Mia noticed the dark shadows behind Vincent curling tighter, shifting toward her like storm clouds descending. You've unleashed something you can't control, Vincent yelled, his voice cutting through the buzzing silence. Control? Mia felt a rush of defiance swell within her. I'm not afraid of you. Whatever is happening, I have to end it now. The room stilled momentarily, all eyes on her. She felt a spark of power igniting deep within, defiance against the mounting chaos. If the dress is a key, then I'll use it. Enough of this just then, A fierce gust swept through the attic, blowing dust and papers into a whirlwind. Mia gasped as the shadows writhed and twisted, forming grotesque shapes around her. Somewhere, she could hear the distant sound of water sloshing, as if a tide was rushing in, threatening to engulf everything. Me? Focus! Lucas grabbed her arms, his intensity pulling her back to the moment. Don't let it take over. You need to find your strength. The spiraling shadows screamed at her, taunting her with fear. She was teetering on the brink of despair, but Lucas's eyes held something she desperately needed: faith. She took a shaky breath and forced herself to break free from Vincent's influence, from the whispers that told her she was weak. The room shook as she began to rise, the dress glowing faintly in her grasp. Was it the fabric? Or was it her strength, finally emerging from the darkness? Together! Greg shouted, stepping forward, his phone still clutched in his hand. Let us end this nightmare. Still, doubt gnawed at her heart. What if they were all playing into Vincent's hands? What if this was exactly what he wanted? As if answering her thoughts, shadows writhed more aggressively, collapsing inward and bulging outward, swelling like a wave primed to crash. Mia, now! Lucas urged, his voice piercing through the turmoil. With a burst of courage, she swung the dress like a weapon, the light brightening against the encroaching darkness. In that moment, she felt the connection between everyone: surge Greg's determination, Lucas's unwavering support, and even Vincent's greed, all caught in a swirling storm of their choice. Suddenly, reality warped. The world spun around her, as the dress hummed with fierce energy. And in that chaos, Mia felt herself rising physically and emotionally. Everything is connected, she murmured, eyes wide as she understood the power wasn't just in the dress, but in the choices, the bonds forged in desperation. Choose wisely. Vincent yelled again, but it was too late. The combined force of their defiance shot out like a beam of light, splitting through the shadows. A blinding flash filled the attic, drowning out the sinister whispers and the looming fears. Mia closed her eyes, feeling the warmth spread, then everything went silent. The deafening roar turned to a low hum, and then to nothing. Mia hesitated, holding her breath. What had she just unleashed? When she opened her eyes, the reality around her had shifted dramatically. The attic was gone, replaced by a haunting mist. And at the center of it all, a solitary figure emerged from the fog, their features obscured. Mia, welcome to your destiny. The words were ragged, each syllable echoing with unimaginable weight. Fear nestled in the pit of her stomach. Who was this? And what did they want from her next? The next chapter was only beginning to unfold. The mist coiled around Mia like a living thing, heavy and thick, almost suffocating. She stepped back, feeling unmoored as the figure solidified, revealing a silhouette cloaked in darkness. The voice echoed again, reverberating through the silence, each word laced with a weight she couldn't comprehend. Do you know why you are here? It asked, and with each syllable, the sense of dread grew. Mia shook her head, gripping the dress tighter, as if it were a lifeline. Everything felt surreal, like a twisted dream she couldn't escape. The mist swirled around her legs, flirting with her ankles, pulling her further into the unknown. I cannot help you unless you confront the truth, the figure said. It stepped forward, revealing a face almost familiar, framed by flowing dark hair and piercing blue eyes that glittered with otherworldly knowledge. Who are you? Mia's voice was a shaky whisper, but she couldn't hold back. What do you want from me? The figure moved with an elegance that felt both inviting and threatening. I am a keeper of secrets, a bridge between fears and desires. A sudden realization hit Mia like a freight train. Was this figure a manifestation of the chaos she had just escaped? Or something far worse? You need to understand the choice you made, the figure continued, its gaze penetrating, searching her soul. That dress holds the key not just to power, but to your past. The darkness you faced vanquished and unleashed reflects your deepest fears. But it can also help you understand your true strength. Me? Lucas's voice echoed from somewhere in the mist, pulling her back. Focus on the present. We're with you. We. The figure scoffed. You think their presence can shield you from your truth? They cannot protect you from what lies ahead. Shut up. Mia yelled, thrusting her hand forward as if she could dispel the figure with defiance alone. Whatever you are, I won't let you control me. The figure's smile widened, dark and knowing. Control? Ah, what a delicious illusion. The true question is whether you can face the reality of your own existence with those words. The ground beneath her trembled, shifting and crackling like ice on a lake about to break. The shadows that had fled from her moments ago strangled the space around her, suffocatingly close, whispering threats that entwined with memories of self-doubt. Each trembling heartbeat became a countdown. Me? Greg's voice pierced through the fog, ringing desperate and full of resolve. You have to fight this. Remember the strength you found? Yes. Don't let it win. Lucas joined, and their collective faith formed a fragile wall within her. But the figure merely laughed, a sound that twisted with her own insecurities. It's already begun. You cannot outrun your legacy. You are meant for something far greater or far darker. Embrace it, or be consumed. Enough. Mia's voice rang with newfound power. She pulled herself together, casting a glance at the dress in her hands. It felt heavier, but somehow charged with energy she hadn't noticed before. Drawing in a deep breath, she focused on the memories of laughter, of warmth, the light moments that had hung in the air long before the darkness. And then, she remembered the pulsing connection with her friends. I am not alone, she declared. The shadows recoiled slightly, as if frightened by her conviction. The mist whirled violently, leaving her feeling lightheaded. Shapes twisted in the fog, and she sensed the horrors lurking within. Faces from her past, painful reminders of mistakes she couldn't escape. Face them. Greg's voice rang out once more, a beacon through the chaos. Mia steadied herself, focusing hard on the dress and the weight of it in her hands. Unleashed power flickered around her. She felt herself swelling with energy, strength drawn from within the bonds they shared. Together, she called, and as if her words were a spell cast against the shadows, a surge of brilliant light erupted, shattering through the darkness engulfing her. But the attack stirred the depths of the fog, revealing a swirling vortex of shadows that screamed in fury. In that very moment, the figure's eyes turned to fire. Rage exploded off of it as it lunged toward Mia, face twisted in a primal hunger. Mia, your destiny is only just beginning. As the world around her twisted and warped, the mist began to unravel, and she stood on the brink of a truth she had yet to face. Where would it lead her, and what sacrifices would she have to make to claim her fate? The explosion of light burst through the mist like a wildfire, temporarily scattering the shadows that threatened to consume her. Mia felt it in her bones. A vibrant heat surged through her, igniting a ferocity she didn't know she possessed. The figure, shadowy and relentless, screeched as the light engulfed it, a savage howl echoing through the uncertain air. But the light began to flicker. It pulsed, fighting against an unseen force. Mia's heart raced. Whatever strength she possessed, it wasn't enough. The figure, now an angry nebula of darkness, gathered itself, reforming as its malevolence clawed back towards her. Me? Greg shouted, his voice strained yet fierce, cutting through the chaos. Keep that light steady. Don't let it flicker. I want tea, she gasped, channeling every ounce of her will into the blinding glow. She could feel her friend's energy weaving into her own, forming a barrier against the onslaught, but the shadows swirled back, wrapping tightly around them, seeking to snuff out their hope. From the outer edge of her consciousness, tendrils of doubt seeped in, cold and serrated. Images flashed before her eyes, moments of failure, lost friendships, and untold regrets. Each vision fought for control, clawing at the edges of her determination. "No!" she screamed, gritting her teeth. "I want to be afraid." With a wild shot of defiance, she thrust her arms forward, concentrating on the light bursting from within. The delicately crafted dress shimmered in response, pouring forth its odd, ancient power. Patterns glimmered in the fabric, intertwining with the memories of joy and laughter. In that moment, Mia understood. It wasn't just a dress, it was a tapestry of her life, stitched together with love and loss. "Let us show them!" she cried out, her voice gaining strength. Together. Behind her, Lucas and Greg rallied, their own energies rising to meet her call. The light intensified, pushing outward like a wave striking a stormy sea. The shadows shrieked, a cacophony of rage merging into a single wrathful roar. With one final surge, Mia felt a warm, cocooning glow wrap around her, transcending the dread and fear held at bay. She and her friends formed a circle, united by a bond more potent than any darkness. The dress sparkled brightly, illuminating everything around them, as the swirling mist began to crack and unravel like a scene from her worst nightmares. But it wasn't enough. The figure lunged forward on the crest of blistering shadows, its eyes now burning with an insatiable rage. "You think you can separate from me?" it hissed, voice dripping with venom. "You are me. You will always be me." "No!" Mia shouted, heart thundering. The weight of every insecurity, every dark secret felt tangible now. The truth was ugly and burdened with fear. But perhaps if she owned it, faced it head on, she could stop the cycle. "Accepting the darkness is how we defeat it," she hollered. With determination, she took a step forward, breaking away from the circle. Every whisper of doubt tried to pull her back, but she took another step, then another, feeling the weight of the dress shift as she advanced. "Face me," she demanded. "I embrace my flaws. I embrace my past." The figure's fiery eyes flickered a shade of uncertainty. For a moment, the chaotic mist paused, hesitating in the whirlwind within. "You think you can dissipate me?" it growled, but there was something shaky in its voice. Mia pushed on. "I want to be consumed. I am so much more than my mistakes." With those bold words, she unleashed the full power of the light, sending it crashing into the figure like a tidal wave breaking upon the shore. The darkness curled and writhed, battling against the brightness, but Mia stood tall, resolute. "No!" it screamed, disintegrating into clumps of shadow that scattered like dust as the light engulfed it completely. Finally, triumph settled in the air, thick and warm. Exhilarated, Mia turned back to her friends. But the mist hadn't completely receded. Tension crackled in the atmosphere like an impending storm as shadows danced along the edges of her vision, tauntingly lingering. "What is happening?" Lucas asked, eyes wide with concern. I don't know," Mia replied. A shadow flickered again, and she felt that familiar chill rush down her spine, the feeling that something far worse was still waiting to strike. "Is this it? Is it really over?" Greg questioned softly. Mia squinted into the remaining shrouds of mist. There was still a pulsing energy lurking beneath, a sign of something waiting to emerge. "Get ready," she warned, fear coiling back inside her chest. "I think the worst is yet to come," and just as she said it, a rumble echoed, vibrating through the ground beneath them. The mist twisted and swirled into a new, formidable shape. The real test was about to begin. The mist roiled, shifting and reshaping with a life of its own. Mia, Lucas, and Greg stood firm, adrenaline coursing through their veins, heartbeats synchronized with the upheaval around them. They had faced the shadows, had glimpsed the darkness within, but what now emerged was a new terror, more potent and alive than before. The mist coalesced into a towering figure, dark and formidable. Eyes blazed like twin suns, piercing through the fog, and Mia's breath hitched in her throat. This was not just a face of her past. This was the embodiment of every fear she had fought against, every mistake that whispered to her from the shadows. "Welcome back, Mia." The figure's voice rolled like thunder, deep and resonant. It held an ominous sense of familiarity, yet it felt like a twisted reflection of herself. "Did you believe you could confront your reality without facing the consequences?" Mia swallowed hard, reaching for strength. She couldn't afford to falter now. "I know you. You're not my fear. You're just a part of me. You are not greater than my will." The words exploded from her as she held the glowing dress in front of her, its shimmering light lingering with the warmth of hope. "It wouldn't be that easy." The figure howled, eyes narrowing dangerously. Shadows poured from it, spilling across the ground, searching for cracks in her resolve. They snaked around her feet like serpents. "Don't let the shadows take you," Lucas shouted, moving closer to Mia, shielding her with his presence. Greg stood at her side, fists clenched, ready to fight whatever came. Mia felt her heart pounding, breath coming in short bursts. "Together," she said, her voice steady. "This is my fight, and I won't stand alone." The figure laughed, low and menacing, the sound echoing around them. "You still believe in unity? In this reality, isolation is your true companion. Look at your weaknesses. You cling to the past while you're meant to embrace the future." With that, it surged forward. The shadows twisted violently, reaching out with claw-like tendrils, probing, trying to unseat her resolve. "No!" Mia screamed. "I embrace my past. I acknowledge my flaws." With newfound clarity, she raised the dress higher. The fabric shimmered with empowering light, reflecting every heartbeat of courage inside her. "Your darkness can't control me anymore." The moment she declared her truth, the ground beneath them shook violently, reverberating through the air like a war drum announcing a final battle. The shadows recoiled, snapping back as Mia's light expanded, lashing out to engulf the darkness swirling around the towering figure. "Enough!" The figure roared, trying to shield itself from the onslaught of light. "You cannot banish me. I am the voice of your doubts, the weight of your regrets." "Regrets are just lessons learned," Mia shouted back. "You are not my end, you're merely a chapter in my story." The light burst forth in a vibrant crescendo, illuminating the attic and pushing the darkness away, unveiling the room that had held her fears for too long. With every ounce of strength, she harnessed the energy from the dress, projecting it outward. The figure screamed as the relentless brightness consumed the shadows, banishing them across the expanse of the attic like the dawn dispersing the night. "Let me show you the truth," Mia cried, her voice like a clarion call. She surged forward, heart racing with newfound freedom. "I am stronger than the lies you tell. I am worth more than the burdens you seek to place upon me." The light engulfed the figure completely, strands of darkness fraying, unraveling until only a whisper of smoke remained. With a final flash, the shadows crumbled into nothingness, releasing the grip they had held over her life for far too long. Silence fell. Mia fell to her knees, breathing heavily, the exhaustion washing over her like an ocean tide. Lucas and Greg rushed to her side, their expressions radiant with relief and triumph. "You did it, Mia," Lucas exclaimed, kneeling beside her. "You faced it head-on." Greg offered a hand, pulling her to her feet. "That was incredible. We're all free from whatever held us back." Mia smiled, tears brimming in her eyes. It wasn't just defeat. It was an affirmation of her journey. No longer shackled by fear or regret. "I have no more ghosts to chase," she murmured, clutching the dress tightly, feeling its warmth radiate against her skin. But even as reassurance gripped her heart, she sensed something lingering in awareness that life would still challenge her. This was a victory, yes, but not the end. "Let us head out," Lucas said, his voice soft yet insistent. We've got a new dawn waiting to embrace us. With a firm nod, Mia took a deep breath, feeling the rush of winds of change swirl around her. As they stepped out of the shadows and into a world tinted in soft light, she understood one thing. Her story was just beginning. Everyday decisions, big or small, would weave together what came next. With her friends by her side, she could face it all, each challenge, each triumph, one step at a time. And so they walked, no longer haunted by darkness but filled with light, hope, and the promise of new beginnings. Now here's the thing, folks. If you enjoyed this thrilling conclusion and want to be part of more epic journeys like Mia's, you need to subscribe immediately. Don't wait even one more second. Hit that red button, because you don't want to miss out on our next exclusive story. And while you're there, throw a like on this video. Let us feed the algorithm and help us grow together. I'm counting on each of you to flood the comments section with your thoughts and reactions. What did you think of Mia's journey? What surprised you the most? Share your theories. Lastly, take a moment right now to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible conclusion. Your support makes all the difference, and only true fans understand the power of connection. Let us spread the word.